What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Cargo, and I'm finally playing StarHawk. It came a couple days late because I had it actually sent to me. I mailed it to me. I mailed it to me. I mailed it to myself, and I was like, "Oh, they'll send it to me. I'll have it on release day." Not, but that was my fault for being a stupid. I don't know why I expected them to have mailed me the game so it could be here on Tuesday, but whatever. Anyways, but I've been looking forward to this game for a while. I played the beta, I really enjoyed it, so I was excited about the game coming out since I got a test drive a little bit earlier. But I started with the multiplayer and then went down back to the single player because if I played the multiplayer first, then I usually don't play the single player game. So I was like, but I did this time because I forced myself to. Now, the single player is interesting because it essentially is taking all the aspects of multiplayer and sticking it into a single player campaign. So everything operates exactly the same. There's no unique features in a single player that you can't do really in the multiplayer. Other than a couple of buildings you can build, but those buildings don't even matter. They're just oil rigs or rift rigs, I guess you could call them. But it's kind of weird, especially since I played the multiplayer first and then I went back to the single player. I was just kind of like, wait, really? Like, what is this? And I don't know, at first I was a little bit disappointed just because there's nothing really that unique about the single player. I mean, the voice acting is good, but the scripting's not that great. Like, terrible is how I'd put the scripting. But the voice acting is pretty good. The cutscenes are kind of cool. They're done in infamous kind of comic book style. So I appreciate that. It's cool looking. But the actual content of the storyline I really could care less about. The way I view it, essentially, it's just a giant tutorial. It's, you know, a 6-hour tutorial on how to build in battle. And in my opinion, you don't need a 6-hour tutorial for a build in battle. They didn't do a good enough job to make it, you know, probably worth the time and money of it. And so they should have just had, you know, maybe a short 1-hour quote-unquote campaign that would go over all the basics and have a short little fun story. So yeah, the single player is not that great, and definitely if you're going to buy this game, don't buy it for the single player. It's not good. It's not good at all. But that leads me to the other aspect of the game, which is good, the multiplayer. The multiplayer is really, really fun. As you can see, it's a third person, and I don't know, it's just really, really awesome. The things I like most about it is probably just how visceral it all feels. When buildings drop down next to you, using the build and battle system, it's like you can feel it, and you can like there's visual and like audio, as well as if you have your vibration turned on. Tangible feedback? Sorry, I can't think of the word. My bad. But anyways, it feels really, really nice when you're playing the game. The guns feel awesome. They feel like they have some punch behind them. And it's just... it feels great. The game feels great. And as far as the looks go, you know, as you can tell in kind of the background, the sky domes and kind of the environments are very, very cool, and the sky domes are especially good looking. Now, the graphics of the game are up to par, essentially, of what you would come to expect from any other game. There's nothing revolutionary about them. But they're really not that great, either. But that's not, honestly, Warhawk's fault. It's the fault of the system that it's on, which is the PlayStation, and the fact that it's using really, really old technology. Same with the 360. Just old technology. There's not much that the developers can do. So the graphics are good. I really like the backgrounds. The settings and the maps are very cool, but the graphics aren't all that great. But it's okay. I mean, they're not bad. I'm not trying to... I mean, want to make sure I get that point across. The graphics are good, but they're just not mind-blowing. But the build and battle system works out pretty well, I would say. There are some issues with it, such as actually getting people to use teamwork. But as far as like just single like lone wolfing at gameplay, it's really useful. You know, you need a vehicle right after you pick up a flag. You drop down a vehicle bay, jump in a jeep or a sidewinder, and ride off into the moon. Set. Hey, this is space. The moon set. Ah, yeah. If anybody uses that professionally, you owe me money. The moon set. There's nothing blatantly wrong with the build and battle system. The only issue I have with it is the fact that there is not much teamwork. So I would encourage, in a patch maybe, to give some bonus points for if people use your building. So let's say you put down like a starport, somebody gets a StarHawk off of it, and you get 5 experience from it. Or you build a bunker, and somebody picks up or refills the ammunition, you get 1 point of experience. So I think that would work out well, because then you get rewarded for putting buildings in useful locations, and you also get rewarded for building buildings that are actually useful in the situations required. The building variety is good, because you have supply bunkers, which is, as you would imagine, a bunker. Warhawks, tanks, sidewinders, which are like the jet skis of the land, which, let me tell you, that is one of the most awesome things about this game. Jeeps, which are a lot like warthogs, for those of you who have played Halo. Shield generators, turrets, laser turrets, buildings that can repair vehicles and other buildings, walls. It's just good. They did a good job with that aspect of it. The other issue I have with the game is with the tanks. Because a lot of games, if they have tanks in them, just turn into a giant tank fest. And it's really stupid, because people will sit inside bubble shields and just keep shooting out of bubble shields and tanks, and you just have to suicide in there like 10 times before you can actually destroy the bubble shield and the tanks. It's really, really stupid. And it makes the game unfun when that happens. So I would hope they would patch something in so that would prevent things like that from happening, such as just not letting tanks shoot out from under bubble shields. I think would be a reasonable way to do things. But that's just one option. There's probably better ideas out there. And that's my biggest gripe with the vehicles. And also, it's pretty much my only gripe with the vehicles, is the tanks. And they're also way, way too cheap. Like, somebody puts a vehicle bay down, and that costs a lot of money, but to get an actual tank is super cheap, and it just makes the game unfun. The Warhawks are very, very awesome. I would not say they're OP at all. They're just really fun to use, and I think being able to chase somebody down in a Warhawk is one of the most satisfying feelings I've ever had in a video game. Because it's like you shoot them out of the sky, and so they land their Warhawk and jump out, and you follow them, and then you turn into walker mode, and then you just like stomp on their head. It is so satisfying. You don't get that in very many games. And also coming up behind snipers and just landing right on top of their heads, and then they freak out, and then you just stomp on their head. Oh, it feels so good. And the air-to-air combat is reasonable. They definitely made air combat better from Warhawk. You can't do crazy maneuvers, and even if you do dodge, there's still a chance you might get hit by a few of the shots. And so Warhawks are not overpowered at all in either of the modes. They're really easy to take down if people know what they're doing. So yeah, the Warhawks are fine and all the other vehicles are fine except for the tanks, in my opinion. As far as the weapons go, there's not too many weapons, but it's not as big of a deal as you might make it out to be. If you've played Warhawk, you know that, that's plenty of weapon diversity, and you don't need any weapon customization. Like, they serve a purpose, and the fun is in the gameplay, not in the customization. The only weapon that I think could be changed would probably be the assault rifle, because it is so inaccurate. And I admit it might be because I'm just bad at the game, so I'm not very accurate with it, but the assault rifle, I really have a hard time hitting people with it. It's like, at medium ranges, a shotgun is more effective than an assault rifle, which should not be the case. But that is my only weapons gripe. So I guess I've been pointing out a lot of things that I think could be improved about the game, but I do think it's a very, very solid game overall as far as the multiplayer, and I'll definitely be getting lots of hours gameplay out of it. It has a very fun gameplay with varied maps, good game modes. The game modes are your typical capture points, team deathmatch, capture the flag, that kind of stuff. But they're very fun. And of course, the build and battle system, it adds a unique aspect to the game that not many other games have. So I highly recommend checking this title out. If you're not sure, make sure to try and rent it, see if you like it for a night. And if you do, go ahead and pick it up. I'll be playing this a lot, so I hope to see you on there. Keep calm and super champion.